Hey, welcome to another episode of the GenX Guys with JD and Len.
Hey,
How you do, Len? How you
not
doing?
been sick the last week, but overall not too bad. How about you?
Been okay. Been okay, Just catching up on
Fighting?
work and stuff, and really nothing exciting actually. Now that I think about it.
No NFL draft or NBA playoffs. You're not happy about 3-0 for your Lakers?
I mean, we can jump into that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as myself, not much
For
happened.
yourself, yeah. Not much happened in the last week.
Well, not this week. During the last weekend, yes,
So
there
last
was. This is why we weren't there, like we mentioned before. There was a wedding we went to for my daughter, so that was a great event, a lot of fun.
was
We
awesome.
were in person. One opportunity we had where we could have tried to do a live show together, or at least in person together, and we didn't do it.
You didn't do it. That was my fault.
Yeah, I'll blame you. Like I said, I'm not going to blame myself. Even if it
Right,
was me, I'm not going to blame myself.
What a guy.
You gotta point a finger at someone.
And it has to be outward. It can't be inward.
Correct.
Yeah. Never take responsibility.
No, even if I'm looking in a mirror, I'm pointing at someone else,
Exactly.
not me.
Right. That reflection is not me. I deny it.
Exactly.
It was a good wedding. I like the venue was really cool. Yeah, your sons were funny. I appreciated them being flower boys for the
Oh,
wedding.
yes.
That was a nice little touch.
Yeah, I'll have to wait for
Yeah.
the actual official video. I did see some of the video people captured with their phones,
Yeah.
but I'll be curious to see the official video once my daughter and my son-in-law now will get soon. Yeah, so it should be fun. It'll be nice. But yes, I heard you guys laughing. Everybody was enjoying them while I was waiting to walk in. So it looked like it was a fun time.
You were still outside with her.
Correct. Yeah.
So for a little bit of context, her brothers, his sons, were also groomsmen. So they had to walk down the aisle and then they had to loop back really quick to do their flower boy duties. So
Correct.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was a great event. Lots of family. Well, the night before there was rehearsal, but we all met up at this bar called Player One.
Yeah.
And so it's a gaming bar, and by gaming meaning 80s arcade machines. All consoles are laid out everywhere, and it's a bar, but it's not like a heavy duty bar. Like they don't do a bunch of mixed drinks or stuff. There's very specific limitations of what they offer, but it's a cool place. I mean, everybody showed up. That was your first time. What was your thoughts?
It was all of us liked it. I mean, it was like you said. It had all the games that we grew up with, and a lot of the some newer ones. It had the console game set up, so the boys were doing like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. But yeah, no, it was a cool environment. Like you said, it had some drinks, but I think the drinks were there to kind of accentuate the bar or the atmosphere of the gaming, and not
Yeah.
it wasn't essentially a bar. But it was like a gaming place that had drinks, and they were all like
And some bar food.
were around the themes were around gaming too. Like all the names of them were around that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously out in Vegas, there's a lot of unique places you can go to. But yeah, that one's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I actually went again Friday because I had to wait for my wife to go to a doctor's appointment, which was right by there. And so while she was doing,
Bucks.
what's that?
It was only like $6 to get in, right?
Yeah, it was like $6.50 or something like that for locals, and locals include California. So,
Right.
which is nice for anybody who came from California. It's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But the place was fun. The actual wedding was great, and a couple days after, still had some family hanging around Sunday, Monday, which was nice. So Tuesday was probably the first day to really kind of relax from all the events, and then back to work. So there you go. Like I said, not much during the week itself, more about work and rest.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's cool because there's a lot of people that I haven't, and from your family that I haven't seen in years.
oh, right.
Also, like pre-pandemic type range. Like, your aunt, I don't think I've seen her since in person. I don't remember the last time I saw her in person.
Other than funerals, I don't know.
Yeah, and unfortunately, exactly. I mean, it's been a while. So it was actually good to also to see a lot of your family that I
Yeah.
haven't seen in a long time. Seeing how it's not, and again, I always say this, it's not the adults. It's now seeing the kids as adults. It's like you have your nephew and niece on your side who, they're in their 30s now. And
Right.
it's one of those things where I look like, I remember when they were born, that type of thing, just like your daughter, because
Yep.
they're the second and third oldest out of like our extended family group.
Right.
And now seeing like, they're like how old and one of them has a kid and all that type of stuff. That's the type of stuff that when you kind of look at that, I think at our age that it makes you feel old. Not seeing us being old or like your aunt getting older. I mean, that's something that we accept. We understand that this is happening, but it's when you start seeing kids that you saw like as babies becoming grown-ups, not young adults, but actual, just adults. It's one of those things that's what makes me feel a little bit on the older side.
Fair enough.
Trying to be nice about it, yeah.
It's funny you talk about age going older. So interesting enough, there was something we did do yesterday. The wife and I went to antique stores. Decided to do some antiquing,
Nice.
and you go through these and you see a lot of stuff in there, like old clothes, some old record players, typewriters, anything, bowls, all these things that you remember probably when you were growing up. Like for us, some of the Pyrex bowls that were there were like the white bowls that had like the blue flower on them, so to speak, which probably a lot of people who grew up in the 70s and 80s quite remember well.
There's like 4 designs that
Pretty
we
much,
all
yeah.
had at least one of them, yeah.
But here's the thing. So we're going through all this stuff, and I start seeing, they have things like boxes of baseball cards, the 91 tops or something like that. And they're in there, or they have things like, Xbox 360 games or, old consoles or comics or, they offer in records and everything. When I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, that's not like antique. Then it hits me and I start to realize, hold on, wait a minute. I'm over 50. These things were like 30 years ago. I guess they are considered antiques now, which sucked because I always feel like every time, whether you and I hang out or whatnot, I don't always think of us at our current age. I mean, yeah, the constant health issues we deal with as you get older. Yeah, that obviously.
Right.
It's like I don't see myself as being, whatever, 54. Like I see, you always consider yourself, even my kids, even though they are of a certain age, I don't look at them past maybe like age of 20, 18 to 22 in my mind.
In your mind, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've obviously aged. But I feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like time has passed that. Like, I know time has passed, but when I think about things from the 80s, I don't think of it as old. I just think of like, oh, yeah, that was just in the past. But, like, that wasn't far past in my mind, even though it's 40 fucking years ago. So,
but it's like that meme that you always see, like, the 80s was only 20 years ago. It's like you had that perception of, 20 years ago was actually, like 06. It's yeah, but I agree. I agree with you on that, like how you see them. I mean, it's like, your daughter, for example, she's, 34 years old. Wait, no, 35.
yeah. No, 34.
35 years old. See, it's like little things like that.
34. 34.
Is it 34? It is 34. I was right.
Yeah, I said you were right, but you kept correcting yourself. No one corrected you. You corrected yourself.
And I mean, I don't know why I always think she's a year older than she is. I think it's just when she was born, because she was born in January. So I always, even though it was 92. Anyway.
Right.
But it's like, not only that, now she's married, but, she's a doctor. So it's like, she's went through all these adult things, and I've been there, but it's hard to see her past, like, when she was a senior in high school and, watching her play tennis.
Yeah.
Or, when she would come up from Loyola during, spring break or something, and we would see her. It's just one of those crazy things that, yeah, but you're right. I have a hard time seeing them all these kids past like about like an aggregated 20 years old, like the upperclassmen in high school to college years. It's like they kind of all blend together to be this element of who I see them as, and it's just and again, it's definitely not like I see them as kids. It's just I visually don't see them as adults
Right.
or full grown adults. Like my son's 29.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like a place and time they're stuck in your mind in,
yeah.
which is kind of how I feel about us. Like it's like a place and time, and of course we still goof around when we're together, like we would when we were back in high school. So
Mhm.
the
Well, that's
joking,
a issue.
yeah, that's true. But
We haven't really gone very far past that. So
no, we have not. But
only one.
interesting. So speaking of my daughter, so she was over last night, and my wife, her and I went to dinner. So we went to the Red Rock Resort Casino, and had a nice dinner, just three of us, because her husband's and my son-in-law's working, so he works out at this Air Force base as a firefighter. So he's out there for like 2-3 days staying on base, and then he's back home. So he was working, and we went out. So once we were done with dinner, so at the casino, and I don't know if you saw this because I don't know if you went around to any casinos while you were out here, outside of the one you were staying at.
Right. No, not really.
They had a Bomberman.
Oh no, we
slot
saw
game.
that. Yeah, the kids were playing that.
Yeah, so
kids are all in their 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so last weekend, my son and his girlfriend and I were wandering around. We spotted. So I played, didn't do shit. He played. He gets into the Bomberman game. He makes all this money, and then he cashes out. Okay, so last night we go again, and I told my daughter about it, so she wanted to play. So once again, I go play. Didn't get anything. I didn't accomplish anything. Because basically what you're trying to do is build up matches of like these things called bomb game or free game or something else. Right. And it builds it up till it explodes, and then you enter in whatever one it is. So I kept building them up, but nothing ever happened. So then my daughter plays, and she does really well. She leaves the night 200 up from that game. So I'm like, apparently I just shouldn't be playing because I can't do anything in that game. But both two of my three kids who've now played it, because Luke has not, the two of them who played it have all won money and left winners. And I'm like, okay, clearly, even though I introduced him to that goddamn game on the console, apparently I'm not very good when it comes to casino games.
Well, yeah,
it's a cool game. It really is.
But it was. No, my one niece, she won pretty big on it. Like even like I think 4 digits type big.
Nice.
So, but yeah, no, they were enjoying playing that. But it's funny because a lot of those, it's like a new trend that you've seen in casino games where they have this thing where they have like these 3 different things that you're trying to build up to explode, and then you go into the thing, and it's just one of those things where I think it's just what it keeps engagement going for them because you see it happen. You see stuff get thrown into one of those 3 piles consistently throughout your play, and it makes you have that feeling like, oh, it's going to explode at any time now. It's like the Jack in the Box type thing. It's you're waiting for it to pop. So
right, yeah. Well, when there was a game we used to always look for. That's why we were wandering around the floor when we spotted this last weekend. There was one where there was a golden pig. To your concept there, it kept filling up with money, and it gets bigger, till. So you're always looking for any of the games with that. Which one has the pig that's the largest to jump into, and hopes you can get it to blow. So we were looking for that. But to your point, yeah, there's so many games like that now. There's the pot. There's 3 pigs. There's Bomberman. Yeah, I mean the Buffalo. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, it's a fun time. But yeah, I figured I'd bring that up because being that 80s and gaming, obviously Bomberman, the first time we played that game was what, 3DX?
No, TurboGrafx.
Or TurboGrafx. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the pleasure of having the one and only kiosk for TurboGrafx 16 in the country at Ceremony Shopping Mall in Daly City, California.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good console. We had one of our close friends worked there, and so we would always be able to sit over there and play. He would ignore any customers that came by while we were playing. And
well, we weren't working there, so it's fine for us to ignore the customers.
Yeah. So yeah, we weren't going to buy anything.
No, we worked at the other gaming console.
Yeah.
Kiosk, which had all the other game consoles.
Yeah. Started out as Golden Gate, and then became Captron.
Golden Gate? What are you talking about?
Wasn't it called Golden Gate or something like that? What was
it was G&G. GNG.
I thought GNG standard for Golden Gate.
No, it's standing for Ghosts and
Really?
Ghouls. Yeah.
See, and then there's another thing that happens
Based
here.
off the Capcom game, because Capcom was the one. Because that's why it was called
Really?
Captron when we moved to the other one.
I always thought it stood for Golden Gate.
No.
Huh.
Why would it then be GNG? Why didn't it just be GG?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember it as GNG. I just thought of it as
GNG. GNG software. So it's Ghosts and Ghouls.
Huh. What do you know?
Yeah, based off the video game by Capcom. So there you go. You remember that one? The knight running through this graveyard and all that stuff? Yeah. That's awesome. All right, so you learned something new today, and I hope others who are listening learned something new.
For like 40 years that I thought that was the name of it.
Revelation. Was it 40 years or 20 years?
It was GNG. Huh? Yeah.
Was it 40 or 20 years exactly in your mind?
I feel better if it was only 20 years because, holding on to some memory like that for 40 years is just.
And then you wouldn't feel so bad.
Sad. I'm going to feel bad no matter what. That's just, our memory and age.
That is true. That I 100% agree with. So.
Captron was fun, though.
It was. It was a fun experience. A lot of good people we worked with there, which was nice.
That was our third place working together?
Good point. Let's see. Well, it depends. So we worked first at Farrell's.
Yeah.
For those who are local and listening. And then we worked at News Stop.
Yep. This is a newsstand in Ceremony Shopping Center.
And then. Yeah, so GNG after that. Yeah. Which I'd say of the first 3 jobs we worked together, GNG Captron was the longest. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well yeah, News Stop was super short. Was short with you.
It was just over the summer.
And then Farrell's, we ended up quitting because the guy was just screwing us over. So.
Yeah, there was a little bit of history on that one. The guy was basically just skirting around labor laws. Like, you would be scheduled for a 6-hour day. It was an ice cream parlor. So obviously at a lot of these ice cream parlors, you have these big spikes in need, and then there'd be a drop.
Like the lunch rush versus the dinner rush. Yep.
Right. But he was scheduled for 6 hours, but he'd have you log in and log out. Yep. So in that 6 hours, I think I only worked like 2 or 3 hours.
And he'd make you wait around. That was the worst part.
You'd wait around. So we'd hang out in the game room, with going back to arcade games, and you'd spend money in there. And then, you're waiting there. It's lunchtime and you can't leave because you never technically got a lunch because you were on break the whole time. And then you would eat there. And I think he gave like a 10% discount or something like that. But I remember like my first check didn't even cover me being there, with the food and the games I played.
Right.
Waiting to play. So I think I only worked there 2 weeks. Yeah,
you and me both. I didn't last very long either. The best part, though, was at least the guys we worked with knew ways to cheat the arcade machines, so we never really had to pay. We were always getting free, and that's where we spent a lot of time actually playing Cyberball.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's a robotic football variation. Oh, it was free. They showed the way to trigger it, so we could trigger it.
I don't remember.
Well, at least I did, unless you got yourself. Or you probably just joined in while we triggered it. Either way.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, we played Cyberball, which is still one of my personal favorite games out there. Actually, that used to be at the Player One bar we went to last week, but it wasn't there. They moved it out. That and Karate Champ.
Karate Champ was a good one.
Yes. Old school. Most people look at it and go, this is a silly game, but it's addictive. People start playing it. Even people who are younger find it fun. I remember introducing it to my kids out there.
Yeah.
And they just liked playing it. It's simple, but it's just fun. So, all right. Let's move on to something else. You brought it up earlier. Let's talk about the NFL draft. We'll go there first. So, dude, I mean, I know it's been going on for a few years now.
Right.
But don't you think it's just kind of ridiculous about this whole, I mean, it's the NFL, I get, but I do not remember the draft turning into this big extravaganza that it's come into, where Thursday night is only round 1, and then Friday night is 2 and 3, and then Saturday everything else.
I think that's always been the case, but
I always remember it being a 2-day event.
No, I always remember it being 3-day. I mean, maybe I don't know when it changed. I mean, maybe not always, but in recent memory, I don't remember. I think it's been around that way for a while.
It has been, but I mean, I guess that's my point. Like,
Because
Why
no, because
is
they were showing that when Goodell no, because I know at least for the last 20 years it's been that way. Because they were showing something back when Roger Goodell's first draft was what, 2000, I wanna say it was 8 or 9. Um, you had the first round was like 6 hours long.
right? But was that actually the first round, or was that
First
the
round,
first
yeah.
and second round in one day?
First round was 6 hours long.
What's the average time per pick then?
Remember, it was 15 minutes before.
It was how many minutes?
15 minutes.
That I remember. Yes, that I remember.
So if you just do the simple math, it's 4 teams is an hour. It can take almost about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just 8 can be 2 hours, and so then 16 is 4. Just saying potential for an 8-hour draft if everybody took their 15-minute a lot of times back then.
Right. Interesting. Well, either way, I think it's a ridiculous event. I know there were talks because the number one pick was Mendoza.
Right.
And by the way, yeah, you're right. It began holding the first round only in 2010. So it's been going on for about 16 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. It was also, it used to be, it was exactly what I thought. In the past, it was first round, it was always a Saturday, Sunday event. It then turned into a Friday, and now they moved it up to a Thursday. That's where I guess it's changing, is that
the dates that it starts on.
yeah, now they're pushing it further into a week because they want to be relevant.
Make it a whole weekend event. They want to make it a whole week event.
Yes. It's no longer on Sundays, so it ends by Saturday. But anyway, Mendoza wasn't there, so first time the number one pick wasn't going to be present since Lawrence did back when he was picked by the Jaguars. But I know I saw the talk that they had encouraged him to show up. But if people who follow the draft,
right?
That they encouraged him, they wanted him to show up?
No. The reason why he wasn't showing up.
Oh, I know why he wasn't. That's what I was about to state.
Okay.
It's because, first off, his mother has multiple sclerosis. And so for her to go would be ridiculous. And he's going to be with his family. And he's going to stay with his mother and his father. And so it made it's like, logically, it makes sense for anybody who has a family. For the NFL, it's a bummer because they want everybody to show up. And like they would have done anything they could, I'm sure, to accommodate his family. But to his point, also, it would have been like only 12 people can bring versus like the 30 he wanted in the house. So,
right.
But yeah, that's why he didn't go. And that's totally understandable and almost expected. I never expected him to show up for that. Just because, for the sake of his mother and making sure she's there and comfortable and not having to deal with getting through all these, security and whatnot. It just made sense. But yeah, the NFL itself hates when they're not able to do it their way.
Right.
So, but yeah, the draft was okay. Any excitement from your perspective? This was kind of a boring draft, but did you get anything out of it you thought was good? How about you as a Cleveland Brown fan? How did you feel it turned out?
Very happy. So, I mean,
how so?
On our end, I mean, I think the draft went better than I could have expected. I mean, I think we got exactly what we needed. Even though there's definitely positions of need that we had, I think teams had to try to balance that position of need with best player available. And I think all of our first 4 picks were all first round grades. We did go after the smaller, fast, shifty.
First round grades by who? By you?
Well,
not you personally, you know what I mean, but by your team, your Browns team?
No. By consensus around the league for the pre-draft type rankings.
So you're taking in the first 4 picks, which were mostly broken up. How many?
Grades.
How many first round picks did you have?
We had 2 first round picks, and then we had second and then third.
So they're saying the person you picked in the 3rd round was a first round grade player. Yeah, I doubt that. Depends who you look at.
Majority was, yes. If you look at any of the gradings for the Browns, of course, this is
by the way,
preseason. I know you're going to say that.
I love this for Brown fans. By the way, this is perfect for the movie Draft Day. Go on. Sorry.
Which I haven't seen.
You should, because this would sum up everything I'm thinking right now. If you'd seen that movie, you'd understand exactly why.
Yeah,
The excitement for Browns fans, the hope, it's fantastic. It all falls apart once the season starts, but it's good at least for now.
that's beside the point. We just need a quarterback to throw to these guys.
Always, always, yeah.
Our the first receiver picked, he does have a history with drop passes, and I think I really wanted, I wanted a possession receiver. I wanted that guy who can get the 50 ball, and we ended up getting that for our third pick. So no, I thought the
But why was he a third round pick then if he was so much better?
Our third pick, he was second round.
Okay, even still, why didn't you? Why would they have picked him second in the second round instead of the first round? Like, was he better? Is he a better player?
People always reach, and bring people who had lower grades up into the first round.
Well, the Ty Simpson one was an interesting one for the Rams.
Right, little things like that. There's people out that had higher grades, and of course they have more people with first round grades than there are first round picks.
Right.
I mean, there's stuff that they I think a lot of times when they say first round grades, they're more talking about first round talent rather than that this person will 100% be picked in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of that. That's why you'll see a lot of people are having these grades high, just because it's more the concept that they could be picked in the first round, and it'll be understandable. Right. But no, overall, I think as a Browns fan, I think I couldn't be happier with how the draft went. I mean, of course, we have to wait to see how it plays out. I do like our number one pick, though. He's a complete nerd geek as well. He's like Pokemon, video games, anime type geek.
Are those nerds geeks anymore? Like, that just seems natural now.
It's becoming more normalized. Yeah, you're right.
Like, I feel a lot of sports players in the past, jocks would have considered that to be nerds in the 80s. But today, it's just like, that is expected almost. Like, you're not a nerd or a geek anymore. You're just, enthusiast, a fan, whatever term they wanted to come up with. But yeah. So he's an offensive lineman, right? Didn't you get an offensive lineman? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. What do you think about the 49ers basically just not?
Well, I agreed dropping back. Like, from their perspective, they were 27th in the draft. They basically dropped 6 spots and picked up 2 picks because they were a little light on picks for this draft. They only had, I think, 6 going into it. And so they got a couple more by just dropping 6 spots. They still got a receiver. Was it the receiver I'd like? I mean, he's really good, but he also tends to give up a bit on the routes. It's one of the kickbacks for him. So they say he's a good blocker. So maybe more of a Jennings replacement if the Niners don't have Jennings. And he can stretch the field. Like, we don't have a deep threat. So that would be his purpose. So I think it's a good pick. Honestly, I think we need more line. We got a couple guys, but they're okay. The ends are important. I think that's where we struggled was pressure. We couldn't get any sacks last year, so they picked up some defensive ends. The injury hurt, but even still, if Bosa's the only one, you can easily block him out and still hold off. So, it'll definitely be better this year. But they went heavier on defensive ends and defensive tackle, so more up front to get at the quarterback, which I thought was smart.
It was good.
So I think overall it was a good mix. Like, it was kind of what I expected them to do. The running back made no sense actually to me, because he doesn't catch the ball. So I'm thinking they picked him up maybe as a return man, potentially, maybe a project they'll work on. But he was like 4th round pickup or 3rd round pickup if I remember correctly. So it's not like he's a low pick. They have to have something of a different plan for him. Yeah, he was a 3rd round pick. And he came from Indiana, so title. He understands winning. He's probably a good blocker, is what I've understood. And he can run, but he's definitely, if he comes in, you're not expecting him to roll out and catch a screen pass or anything, because that's just what he's never done.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
He can learn or something like that,
Yeah.
He does have a pretty good running back, to learn from.
He does. He definitely does.
Kind of good.
But yeah, we got a couple, like I said, we got a couple linemen later in the draft. 4th. Honestly, the Niners only drafted through 5 rounds. That was it.
Yeah. But it was good. It was, I mean, as we were watching, we knew that it was 49ers needed depth after what happened last year.
Yeah, they do. And so it was good. I thought overall it's a good pickup. We'll see, to your point. like everything, it's a guessing game in the draft. There's no guarantee any of these players will ever be, helpful. Maybe they'll provide some support, but you can't guarantee all the ones you draft are going to make the team or even be of value. Like a lot of players just unfortunately don't make it.
I think the other thing that we as, fans and especially the analysts forget is we don't, like you said, you brought up a really good point with the running back. You don't know what Shanahan's plan with him is. They're not just picking a running back to fill in for CMC. You don't know what
Right.
you don't know what the plan is. So like even looking through the Browns, it's like, they outwardly it looks like good picks, but I mean, even kind of looking at our needs and what's going on with the team, they made a lot of sense. But the truth is, we also have a new head coach,
Right.
so we don't really know what the plan is. So, like the lineman that we picked up with our ended up being number 9 pick after the trade to Kansas City, he played right tackle. But when he first got to Utah, he played left tackle, and then he moved over because it was the better alignment for the team. The guy who moved to left tackle was more of a left tackle only, where Piano, who we picked up, is very versatile. So you
Right.
kind of look at that as being where you might have seen like I'm forgetting his name, but the one the Giants picked up right afterwards from Miami, the tackle, who is a pure left tackle. But again, you know what the philosophy is of we may have looked at him as, or the Browns may have looked at him as like, well, he may be the better left tackle, but we want to have more versatility in our players, or we want to run this type of scheme and so on. So it's always funny when you see people like analyzing it, but sometimes you have to make sure you understand the context of the pick or
Right.
the picks at its totality and the free agency and who they have on the team. Like you actually had people saying that we're going to pick an edge rusher, which I mean, that just makes 0 sense for a team like us,
Right.
with a high pick, like with a first or second round pick. So, but yeah, no, I think it's just when you kind of look at the draft, you have to remember there's context of why they're picking somebody. Like even the
Right.
Titans pick, I mean, I don't, it's kind of puzzling just because he came off an MVP season, but you kind of had to look at, there's other factors that play into it. They may not have thought they were going to draft this high again for a
Right.
few years, and that this was their only chance of getting who they thought would be a starting caliber quarterback, and they didn't want to wait for Stafford to drop off and be picking low in a few years, when they're going 4-13 or whatever.
I don't know. I would have held. I mean, granted, the Rams don't know if they'd be this high again next year anyway, because this was based on a trade that they got that draft pick. But I feel like he's a reach. No one actually graded him as a first round quarterback.
Yeah.
Most scouts graded him at probably round 2 or 3, but he went up high. The Rams, obviously, the thing with the Rams that was interesting, that drew a lot of attention the next day, was McVay's face during the press conference, where it looked like he was not on board. His answers were short and terse. When they asked about him being the backup, he's like, "We'll see." Like he's got to compete for the second string role. Like you just picked a first round quarterback, and you're saying he's not even a guarantee to be the backup to your starter, right? So all these things led to it, and so there's been a lot of like
speculation,
a lot of also fire control, basically, by everybody coming out and saying, no, there's no way the Rams would ever do this without them online. And people in the organization saying, no, they were all 100% agreed. But it is interesting because if you're trying to win now, why would you waste a first round pick on a quarterback that you could have gotten in the second round because he would have slipped?
Right.
So it didn't make a lot of sense, but I don't really care. I'm not a Rams fan, but I find
to begin with.
No, and I found it interesting. What I did find interesting was, so the Raiders obviously picked Mendoza. That it was expected. They need a quarterback, but they got what's his name? Jermod McCoy, basically from Tennessee, a cornerback who slipped all the way to the 4th round. Now this kid was really good, but out all of last year because of a ACL.
Right.
So I think that's a good steal. Like I would have liked the Niners to have taken him as just a stab in the dark to help their cornerback position, but. The Raiders did in the 4th. I mean, he dropped pretty far.
He did.
Just because you don't know what he'll come back as.
Right. I mean, ACLs aren't what they used to be. You know, ACLs, we've talked about this in the past, but ACLs even in the 90s were almost basically career ending. You know, I mean,
Right.
it just it what now it's like, okay, he'll be back to normal. You know, people come back from those and like it's nothing.
Yep.
You know, it's just crazy to see. But yeah, no, I thought that was a good pickup by the Raiders. So um the one we'll talk, I don't know, did you hear about the whole Steelers situation?
Which part? What do you mean? Like who they picked, or
Well, what
I haven't heard
happened
much on the
is,
Steelers.
so there was, God, I'm not forgetting his name. 1 second.
Talking about their first round pick,
Their first
the
round.
quarterback. I know they picked a quarterback in the third round, the Penn State quarterback.
Oh God, I'm forgetting what his. No, no, no. It was what happened in the first round. I'm forgetting. It was.
Arizona State, the offensive lineman.
Hold on, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to make sure I say his name right.
So for those watching this on video right now, Len is frozen, but he's still talking. So you're fine.
Am I frozen?
There you go. Now you're not frozen. It's probably because you switched screens and it froze your video or something. Whatever crack research you're doing right now.
No, I was having an old man moment. It was Lemon. So there was the receiver Lemon. I was thinking Flowers for some reason, but Zay Flowers is not in the draft. Anyway.
For the Steelers?
The Steelers were on the phone with him. They were up next.
Okay.
Their draft order. And they were on the phone with Lemon saying that we're going to draft you. Do you want to be a Steeler and everything? Then all of a sudden, the Eagles ended up calling him because they had traded with the Cowboys and they ended up picking him up instead. So they ended up grabbing him. And then essentially, like there was this whole thing. If you have a chance to look it up.
Oh, Mekhi Lemon got it from USC. Yep.
Mekhi Lemon. They were on.
So the Steelers were going to pick him, and you're saying Pittsburgh jumped ahead of them through a trade.
Why he goes? Why are the Eagles calling me?
On the live feed at that time.
Yeah, like you can see him mouthing. Why are I think you actually can hear him say like, why are the Eagles calling me? And so while he was on the phone with the Steelers, and so the Eagles had jumped up, grabbed him, and then there's this whole thing where the Steelers basically panicked and made their pick for a tackle. And
they need protection. That's true, but
it's not that they don't. I don't disagree with that, but it was also kind of the things that was coming out where one of the guys in the Steelers org had said that they ended up picking him really quick because it was like one of those moments where you're auto drafting in fantasy football.
Auto drafting. Well, they had him on their list, right? Like if you preset your list and then that person gets taken, the auto draft kicks in and takes the next one on your list instead of you getting a chance to change it. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like fantastic.
So it made it sound like, and again, the guy was on their list, so obviously they want to draft him. I'm not trying to imply.
Well, yeah, they need receivers. That's a fact.
Yeah. But it was just funny that they kind of said that, and it kind of almost applied like, "Oh, we didn't really want him, but the auto draft picked him." It's just one of the. That's how it was implied. And again, I know that as much as I want to hate on the Steelers.
Well, and they got a receiver immediately in the second round to back up your point. Like they got Bama's Bernard on their side, and then they picked a QB, which they still don't know who their starting QB is. Like Rodgers hasn't committed, but then again, Rodgers hasn't announced he's retiring, so it's pretty much expected. He and McCarthy have already agreed that he's coming back. There's just been no real word mentioned, and they're keeping it between each other for now.
I wonder if he was waiting to see how the draft went. But again, I think Rodgers. That's just Rodgers being Rodgers. As much as I want to have, again, I'd love to have a conspiracy against the Steelers and their downfall or whatever. We also know just how Rodgers likes to draw things out and does things on his own time.
100% agreed. So, all right, you know what? Enough about the draft. Let's move on to something more exciting. We're going to continue with our trend, where I'm going to now do our segment where we go into a quiz, and this is going to be about Len once again trying to guess, but no sounds, nothing on that. I'm basically pulling up this date in history. Okay, so on this date throughout history, I'm going to read off a sort of a clue, and then you give me an answer. And I think you can get these. So Let's do the first one. All right, you ready? You excited?
Sure.
All right.
You just
I feel like you're excited. Let's do some drum roll here.
Bursting open.
Bongo drum roll at that. All right. Here's the first question. On this day in 1986, so you were clearly should remember this. A nuclear reactor accident became one of the worst man-made disasters in modern history. Bingo. Good job. Well done.
86. And for context, we were in high school elementary school.
Yeah.
Going into high school. This is
exactly. Here's your applause. There we go. All right. Moving on. Question 2. Okay, now this is in 1977 on this date. One of the most famous nightclubs in the world opened in New York City and became the center of disco culture.
Oh, shit.
I'm pretty sure you know what it is. You just are forgetting the name.
No. It's not that. For some reason, I'm thinking Area 51. And I'm like, no, that's not it.
Okay. Maybe that was a disco club at that time. Who knows? Maybe it was a disco club.
It's not. For some reason, Area 51 keeps on popping in my head, and I know it's not it. And I even had the marquee in my head because
there was a movie made on this too.
I know exactly
with Mike Myers.
I know.
Trying to give you hints. All right, it's Studio 54, the famous Studio 54.
54, yeah, Studio 54. But that's why it's like Area 51, Studio 54. That's kind of a reason why. Forget it. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. This next one, I don't think you'll get this next one, but I'll do it anyway. It's because it took place in 1954. It's a medical question. Field trials began for a vaccine that would change childhood health in America. Basically, what did it cure?
Was it measles?
No. It starts with a P. I'm giving you a lot of help here.
Polio?
There you go. Yep. Polio vaccine trials began in 54. Really? Yeah, on this date.
That makes sense. Yeah, because some of the effects of polio was still happening during World War II. So yeah, that makes sense. What was me? It's kind of interesting to see like how far back some of these vaccines go and how recent they were.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 4. This legendary comedian and TV variety show icon, she was born on April 26, 1933.
Wait, repeat that? Sorry, I was coughing.
She's a legendary comedian and TV variety show icon, born this date in 1933.
33.
She's still alive?
No.
What's that?
Still alive. I was going to say Lucille Ball.
No.
She's dead, right? Okay,
yeah, Lucille Ball's gone. Yeah. She is a redhead, though, interestingly enough.
She's a redhead.
Yeah.
33.
She did a variety show with Tim Conway. She had a place called Mama's Place she was in.
Okay.
In the 80s.
Mama's Place.
She was in the movie Annie.
I have the picture. When you said Mama's Place, I can picture her, but I can't remember her name.
I'm trying to think if there's another good example to help you get over the hump.
Example. I'm not going to remember her name because
all right, fine. For those listening, if you got it, good for you. Those listening, it's Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett, yeah. I couldn't remember.
I wouldn't have gotten this either. I would have probably tried thinking of things.
When you said Mama's Place and everything in variety, I was trying to think of people who were in variety shows, like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Who had different ones.
Or 80s for that. But yeah, she had her own variety show, the Carol Burnett Show.
But I remember, that's what I was thinking of, but I just couldn't remember her name.
All right, this next one you'll get. I feel pretty confident. So I'm putting a lot on you right now. Okay, this actor and martial artist, known for movies like Lethal Weapon 4, Romeo Must Die, and The One, was born this date, 1963.
Lovely.
There we go. See, easy. Well done. There you go. Get a little applause for that one, too.
That was easy. That was an easy one.
Yeah, I figured as much. But you know what? You never know. You could surprise me and get completely off topic and fall apart.
No, actually, no. More likely is with my memory, especially people's names. I would have just blanked on what his name was. So yeah, that was just as likely. So,
all right, let's go. A couple more questions here.
All right.
Okay, back in 1564. Okay, 1564.
Okay.
This playwright was baptized in Stratford upon Avon His exact birthday is traditionally celebrated a few days earlier. He's a playwright known for very famous plays back in 1564.
Shakespeare.
Boom. Good job. Way to go. That's probably the only one you could think of.
Yeah. That actually was the only thing I could think of. Like, if you gave me anybody else besides Shakespeare, yeah, actually, because if you would have said you're not going to get this, then I would have probably just not guessed.
Yep.
But
All right. One more. I'll give you
One-
another one after this, but this, because the other ones are pretty difficult. Even I might have a tough time getting these. But back in 2019, on this day, this massive Marvel movie hit theaters, became one of the biggest box office events ever.
in
It was
2019,
7 years ago.
which one was it in 2019?
It's interesting to think it's already been 7 years since this movie came out, by
Yeah.
the way. Pre-pandemic.
Was it
Which
Civil
one?
War? Civil War?
No, later than that. It's after that.
It was after Civil War.
What was the last one that included all the originals?
What- Well, Endgame? Was it Endgame?
There you go. Endgame. There you go.
That was 7 years ago?
I know. It's crazy to think. It was 7 years ago Endgame came out.
I'm thinking, I was honestly thinking, like, no, it couldn't have been Endgame. But then when
It
you
was
said
almost
it was
20 years since
all-
Iron Man came out.
You know, I watched the other day was the first Thor, which I think is underrated.
I like that movie a lot.
I do too. I think it's just because it kind of had this. I think people forget that a lot of those early Marvel ones were character development. You know, they,
Yep.
they were
Yep.
more about that instead of just pure action.
Correct.
But I like that. I still think him getting Thor being worthy is still one of the best, moments like that in the MCU.
Well, it also sets
I
up
don't
future movies too because of how Odin sets up Mjolnir as far as who can hold it and
Yeah.
get the powers.
Yeah, and what it says is, like when Vision grabbed it, obviously it was like, all right, I guess we can trust him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's noble. Exactly. So there we go.
It's
Good job. Well done. Not bad. I'm proud of you. Here's some applause for you again.
Thank you. So what was the other one?
All right, so there were a couple others I just passed up on because I figured it'd be too difficult for you to grab. But this one so today is also considered a National Food Day. With this one you would have gotten. For a salty snack you might buy at a ballpark, mall, or airport.
Cracker Jacks? At a
Salty snack you might buy at a ballpark. Cracker Jacks aren't salty.
it's here. A little
They're
bit.
sweet. They're sweet. What are you talking about? They're caramel covered popcorn.
Yeah,
Why would you put salt on that?
I think that they have salt in it. Shut up.
Okay, well, no, that's not the answer, dude. Good effort.
I think I want to answer the question before I actually heard the whole thing.
Yeah. Or you want Cracker Jacks right now. Either or. But
That's probably more what it is.
yeah. It's National Pretzel Day today.
National Pretzel Day.
Yeah, ballpark, malls. Airport, though, was a bit of a stretch. That one, I don't remember. I guess you could. And Annie's, those pretzel places.
Yeah, but I don't really.
I don't think of it from an airport. Ballpark, yes. You can get pretzels at a ballpark.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting because I always, when I think of pretzels, I think of the Office episode. If you ever seen The Office,
I haven't.
Where they, I know you really weren't a big Office fan, which I find interesting.
Well, there's just so much to watch. I just think I never picked that one up.
But there was an episode where it's Pretzel Day. It's this whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, if you don't know the context, it'd be kind of wasted on you. So I just don't
Nice.
talk about it. But it's a great episode. And
So there we go. Good job.
speaking of that, there's a lot of things with The Office I will quote around the house. And I was just thinking about this because I ended up putting on The Fifth Element yesterday and watching that last night.
Okay.
Right. Just because it was one of the things where I saw it on Netflix and I just popped it on. But there's a line in it that I still quote to this day, or I say it like it. I always say multipass. Like how kind of like, how.
Oh, like she says? Yeah.
Like she says it in that. And it's just one of those stupid things that, like, I'm sure 90% of the people around me have no idea why I say something like that out loud. Like when you go to a park or you go somewhere and like there's a multipass or something like that. Like I was in I was in Asia for something, and it was like I said it out loud, and like these people just stared at me like I was crazy American. But it's just one of those things where I still kind of quote that today. And I was just wondering, what do you think is like your big thing that you still quote that's kind of on the obscure side that people may not?
Oh, one popped in my head when you started saying that. Actually, one that I'll say. I don't know in what context I'll usually say this, but sometimes during conversation, if I'm telling them something, I'll respond with, "So say it, the shepherd."
So say it, the flock.
Boom! There you go. For those who don't know, it's Porky's 2 reference. But yes, he's in his congregation. So say it, the shepherd. And they all respond, so say it, the flock. My kids get it, so obviously, because they've watched it with me. But yeah, that's one where sometimes I'll just throw it out there randomly based on whatever the conversation's going, and I'll just say, so say it, the shepherd. And some people respond, and I'll be like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
It's like there's a clip where they're in a, like, you know, those rooms that you before you pre-surgery or something like that, where you're going to get some type of procedure done, and everybody's in their gurneys, and they have, like, you know, the I don't want to say sheets, but the separators that are doing everything.
The curtains.
And it's like, yeah, the curtains around it, and somebody yells out, you know, do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
And then the guy yells back, you know, like in that screech voice from the movie The Muffin Man. And it's just, and it was like one of those random things, like somebody said it out loud, and then somebody in their reply
will respond. Yeah,
responded back. But it was just a classic thing. They're really funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's also another one that's fun to do when you're just talking. It's also another one based off a movie where you just sit there and start going, the stars at night are big and bright. And everybody claps, deep in the heart of Texas. That I first heard from Pee Wee Herman, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I may have heard it before, but it really reminds me more of Pee Wee Herman, the movie, because he said that in Texas, and then everybody in the area around him would just clap and say, deep in the heart of Texas. So, another fun one. There's lots of ones. But to your point, like Badgers.
Badgers?
We don't need no stinking Badgers. Another great movie that's a cult classic, UHF, Weird Al Yankovic.
I don't remember that one.
Well, where did you get the Badgers thing from?
No, I mean, I that's the funny part. I know where it came from, but I don't remember the movie outside of that.
Oh, got it. You don't remember him trying to Raoul's Wild Kingdom, teaching dogs how to fly?
No.
Dude, I maintain some stupid shit in my head, by the way. Like, I really do hate some of the classic 80s movies, which are just ridiculously dumb and humorous. Those are all there. Like, I can clearly, and maybe this is just because I live in the 80s, apparently. You know, it's all there for me. Like the Police Academy movies.
Yeah. I think if you want to talk about movies, it's hard to pass up any Monty Python.
Oh, yeah. By the way, speaking of not Monty Python specifically, but when I was at the what was it, going back to antiquing, I was walking around and there was all the Benny Hill VHSs.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wow, it's pretty cool. I don't have a VHS player, but yeah, Benny Hill. Classic English humor, British humor.
Yeah. No, Benny Hill was classic. I remember being a young boy, always thinking that there was going to be nudity with those. You know,
yeah, because he's always chasing half-naked women around. Yeah.
Yeah, that was classic.
I've never looked, but I wonder how old he was at that time. Like, because today, it's always funny when you see comparisons, memes, where they show this is someone back in the 80s who was supposedly 40 versus someone like Archie Bunker.
Right.
So, you know, the actor was actually 45, or from Cocoon.
Yeah, he was younger than us.
He was like 45, and he looks like he's like 70. No, compared to someone who's 45 today, actor who plays 45, and is like looks nowhere near the same as far as age goes.
Have you ever seen like the age of the actors in Cocoon?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They're all younger than us. I don't think anybody was over our age.
No, but they all look like.
What pisses me off is not that. It's like I should be retired. That's what kills me.
That's a good.
I
Well, they
should be
did play.
retired
They
now?
did play an older age
Am I
group.
one of those people?
Yeah. Holy shit! These guys retired super early. What is going on?
I know. What happened to us? See, the world fucking is going to hell.
Yeah.
We do need to make America great
We'd
again.
ruined it.
I'd be okay with looking that old if I could be retired.
Fair. Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe it's because wars really leave a lasting impression on people.
Yeah. Something.
Most of those actors would have been part of World War II time period.
True. A little bit, Also, let's just be honest.
Know.
Drinking and smoking were a lot more prevalent back then, too.
Easily.
Those age you like crazy.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a health, fitness, and awareness more so in today than there ever was back in the 70s and 80s, hell, 50s. I mean, I always like the fact that you see Dean Martin when he's on the Johnny Carson shows back in the 70s and 80s, even the Cannonball Run movies. Again, other classic great movies.
Yeah.
That's another one I do quote. It's like when he's talking about God is our co-pilot. Dean Martin looks at Sammy Davis, starts slapping him on the face. Where's he going to sit? Huh? It's a two-seater. Where's he going to sit? Because they're driving a Ferrari. So, but Dean Martin was always drinking.
There's also any Mel Brooks movie, Spaceballs.
Which, by the way, Spaceballs 2 comes out next year.
Yeah,
the new movie is what they called it.
Even though we can't repeat half of Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, you can.
Or in real life.
You sure you can? You're referencing a movie. It's a line in a movie.
Like "Where the White Women At" is still one of the funniest lines of all time.
Yeah,
because in the context, you see what he did and everything. It's just as still one of the best lines ever.
It was. Mel Brooks did a lot of great stuff.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Spaceballs 2.
History of the World is another one.
I mean, he's pushing 100 this year.
Yeah, he's still yeah. Spaceballs 2. We'll see.
Yeah, he'll be in there. It's the great yogurt. So, and I don't know.
My own best friend.
I assume he'll be there. Is what was it? Emperor Scrooge is what the name was for Spaceballs, or President Scrooge. That's who
President
it was.
Scrooge, yeah,
President Scrooge.
Right.
I just like that Rick Moranis is back because he hasn't acted in a long time. So to see him come back as Dark Helmet will be fun.
Your Schwartz is almost as big as mine.
Yeah. He was such an interesting character actor too. He was really good at what he did. So.
He was. He was. I mean, it's kind of funny because how big he was. Not funny, but just when you remember who was really big back then in the 80s, he was one of them. He was, maybe not a serious actor, but in terms of comedies, he played in a lot of really cool movies.
Yep.
Actually probably into the 90s because I think Honey I Shrunk the Kids was 90s.
Was in the 90s. Yeah, that was the 90s. And The Little Giants was the 90s as well.
Oh, that was a good movie. I forgot about that one.
That's another one. Giants, help us, God. The little kid.
That was good.
Yeah. So lots of good movies. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this week's show. We're thankful for those who continue to listen. As always, feel free to leave comments, thoughts. We will be back next week.
Yep.
Anything you suggest, also like and share. Appreciate everybody who listens. And we'll be back next week with yet another exciting episode.
Exciting episode.
As we march our way towards our 100th episode.
Eventually.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there.
All right.
Everybody have a great week.